In 2020, something happened in the heart of our solar system. The interstellar comet 3I Atlas, coming from the depths of space, crossed the line between the known and the impossible. During its trajectory, it passed behind the sun, and, for a few weeks, no one on Earth could observe it. When it became visible again, it was no longer the same. Its brightness had changed, its speed seemed altered, and its structure showed signs of anomalous fragmentation. But what if this change wasn't natural? What if in that brief moment when it disappeared behind the sun, 3I Atlas had done something that shouldn't be possible? A maneuver, an impossible turn for a comet. Today, you will learn about the theory that NASA prefers not to discuss publicly, the hidden solar maneuver hypothesis, the idea that 3I Atlas didn't just pass by the sun, but did something behind it. In April 2019, the Atlas system detected the object. A comet coming from outside the solar system on a hyperbolic trajectory, traveling at more than 100,000 kilometers per hour. It was coming fast and on a direct approach to the sun. Astronomers around the world began to track its journey. But when 3I Atlas reached the region between the sun and the Earth, it disappeared completely. For almost a month, no telescope, neither terrestrial nor orbital, managed to record it. It was as if it had entered a blind zone, a point where sunlight completely swallowed it. And that's when the suspicions began. Experts call this point a solar occultation, an alignment in which the sun completely blocks the view of an object. But for some theoretical physicists, this is not just an orbital coincidence. It's the perfect opportunity for an invisible maneuver. Physicist Avi Loeb from Harvard University mentioned something intriguing: a possible solar Oberth Maneuver, a type of acceleration that uses gravity and solar energy to change direction with minimal energy expenditure. In other words, if 3I Atlas were a disguised spacecraft, its passage behind the sun would be the ideal moment to redirect its route, without anyone seeing. And indeed, when it reappeared, its trajectory did not exactly match previous predictions. Upon reappearing, 3I Atlas showed inexplicable behavior. Astronomers expected its approach to the sun to increase its brightness, since the heat should vaporize some of the ice, forming a more intense tail. But the opposite happened. The comet suddenly reduced its brightness, as if something had drained its reflective energy. Furthermore, small variations in speed were observed, enough to indicate that non-gravitational forces were acting on it. It was as if, somehow, 3I Atlas had changed course. Proponents of the maneuver theory believed that this was the moment when the disguised alien probe completed its plan. It used the sun as cover, and then it departed in a new direction. When observations became possible again, astronomers compared previous calculations with the new data. And something was wrong. The orbital inclination had changed slightly. The radial velocity showed a minimal anomaly, but enough to intrigue scientists. And the strangest thing, the dust distribution in the tail did not follow the physical pattern of fragmentation. For those who believe in the conspiracy theory, this was not a measurement error. It was evidence of controlled propulsion. Some independent researchers suggested that 3I Atlas might have intentionally split apart, as if smaller parts had separated to continue individual missions, camouflaged microprobes, invisible to conventional detection. Coincidence? Or a carefully executed plan behind the sun? To understand this hypothesis, we need to understand the maneuver that inspired it. The Oberth Maneuver, used in astrophysics, is a real technique. It consists of using the gravity of a massive body, like the sun, to obtain a gigantic acceleration. Human probes, such as the Parker Solar Probe, have already used versions of this maneuver. But for an object coming from outside the solar system, performing something like this would require calculation, precision, and intention. The theory says that 3I Atlas entered the Sun's gravitational field, reduced its speed, changed its trajectory vector, and exited on a new course, without ever colliding or evaporating. In other words, it wasn't destroyed by the Sun, it used the Sun as cover. Shortly after the disappearance and reappearance of 3I Atlas, several international observatories reported delays in the release of data. What was previously updated in real time began to be published with days of delay. High-resolution images were never released publicly, and technical reports remained under internal review for months. Some claimed this delay was due to the technical difficulty of observation. Others believed there was deliberate censorship. TO-rich sources claim that NASA and other agencies detected something during the solar occultation, something they couldn't explain or deny. Perhaps an energy emission or an unusual electromagnetic signal coming from the direction of the Sun. Nothing was officially confirmed, but the silence was deafening. Shortly after returning, 3I Atlas apparently disintegrated. But some say this destruction was simulated, that it actually released controlled fragments, programmed to wander in stable orbits and remain hidden. Some independent astronomers claim to have detected small, slow-moving objects near the former path of 3I Atlas, moving erratically. But without official confirmation, these observations were shelved. If these fragments really exist, they could be autonomous modules, silently analyzing our solar system, waiting for the right moment to transmit what they saw. The question that intrigues theorists is simple. What if 3I Atlas never actually left? What if the solar maneuver was just the beginning of its true mission, a way to enter a new route, perhaps to orbit discreetly within the solar system, far from human eyes? There are hypotheses that it may now be beyond the orbit of Mars, traveling parallel to the plane and observing silently. If true, then first contact has already occurred, not with lights nor with messages, but with a calculated maneuver behind the Sun. The Sun has always been a symbol of life and light, but perhaps for a few moments, it was a veil, a curtain through which something entered, acted, and left unseen. 3I Atlas remains officially classified as a disintegrated comet. But for many, it is proof that the universe is more intelligent than we imagine. Perhaps while we were observing the Sun's brilliance, someone was observing the Earth. Human eyes are blinded by sunlight, but sometimes it is precisely there, at the brightest point in the sky, that the universe hides its greatest secrets.